Arizona Coyotes a night after beating the Vegas Golden Knights in a shootout. And for the Leafs, there's something to like about what they did last night, but Ray, Jan.12 and his line mates weren't happy.
No, they didn't have a great game. I mean, Nylander scored early in the game and had the shootout winner for John. It's been a quiet couple of games, and there really hasn't been many of them this year. He hasn't gone 3 games in a row without a point this year. He doesn't have one in either of the last 2 games, the first 2 games on the trip, and he'd love to get on track tonight. With everybody talking about Austin Matthews, it'd be nice for Tavares to find the score sheet too.
Meantime, the Coyotes have COVID and injury problems as Lawson Krause moves in. That shot was blocked by T.J. Brodie, including their head coach, Andre Tourigny, and assistant Mario Duhamel, both out tonight, along with a host of others. The Coyotes began the year winless in their first 11 games and come in tonight with the worst record in the NHL. Brodie being watched there by Krause. Along the boards, chipped ahead by Matthews, the Scottsdale, Arizona native, to former Coyote Michael Bunting. And Bunting comes in. Matthews joking the tribute video for Bunting should be entertaining tonight as it's picked up, moved ahead by Dyson Mayo. Moved in by Dustin Boyd. His shot's blocked by Hall. Kept back in by Janis Moser. And now slid back in as Clayton Keller finds it. Keller in, shoots, and stop made by Mrazek. The puck drops back in the slot. Boyd with a chance. And now teed up by Labushkin. He put that wide.
That's a nice stop for Peter Mrazek. It's Clayton Keller, who is the best offensive player for the Coyotes, is in a dangerous spot.
Justin Hall retreats as Keller plays it across, and that pass is picked off by Nylander. And Labushkin tries to steal it back, but Tavares back with it. And Muzzin directing traffic, feeds it across to Hall. Up ahead to Kampf. He lost the puck and being harassed there by Nick Schmaltz as Muzzin plays it ahead. An open wing, jumping ahead is Hall, chips it ahead for Simmons. And back to pick it up is Victor Soderstrom, a first-round pick of the Coyotes a couple years ago. He's an emergency recall for Arizona, one of 3 in the game tonight. Moved in by Riley Nash, who was picked up on waivers last week by the Coyotes for the Tampa Bay Lightning after they got him on waivers from Winnipeg earlier in the year.
It's been quite a stretch for Nash here as he gets a chance to play in Arizona. And, you know, Gord, you've touched a couple of times quickly on Arizona and their lineup. 5 guys out with COVID, 5 guys out with injury. Like, it's just remarkable what they're trying to deal with here.
Then McCabe gets knocked off the puck as he was knocked down and moved ahead now by Mayo. Mayo shoots out ahead for Fisher, and that's ripped wide by Christian Fisher. Coyotes in full rebuild mode will likely unload veteran players at the deadline. They're sitting on 2 first and 5 second-round picks in the upcoming NHL draft. Riley slides it back. Dermott ahead to Ritchie. Nick Ritchie goes rink wide, Spezza in, but the play's offside. Just underway here, and tonight's key parts of the game are presented by Napa Auto Parts.
O'Dog mentioned that, you know, you play against a team that struggles like this and you just do enough for 10 minutes and they start doing weird things. You're not trying to do weird things. You make mistakes. So just play the game if you're the Leafs. And for Arizona, it's name tag night. You know those, hey, my name is? They got 10 players here replacing regular players. 3 emergency recalls that came up today. Their backup goalie's played just a couple of times in the NHL, called up as one of the recalls, and they've really given him the short end of the thrift here over his 4 NHL games. A couple against Vegas and one against Colorado. Like, thank you very much.
Long shot from Dermott, steered wide, played along the boards, and now scooped up. But once again, the Coyotes can't move it out as Johan Larsson got bottled up. And then Travis Boyd leaves it there for Kolyachonok. Vladimir Kolyachonok, one of those call-ups today. Makes his NHL debut. Got the solo skate prior to the game in the warm-up.
You know, we saw him go out there. There's nobody else on the ice. I'd like to see one of those kids go out in their first skate, and go shoot one in the other net. Oh. Down at the far end. Like, why not? There's nobody else out there. Like, have a little personality.
Going to start a brawl in your first game.
Nobody else is there. Nobody's going to notice it.
Here's Boyd with it now. Brought across the line by Boyd. Drops it off, and now Keller with a shot goes off the leg of Muzzin and wide. Up along the boards. Bunting had it skip away from him. And Mayo flips that wide of the goal. Clayton Keller lost the puck to Matthews. Austin Matthews spins away from Keller and works his way out. First league visit to Phoenix since November of 2019. That was Sheldon Keefe's debut as Toronto's head coach. And the puck flipped down to the Coyote zone, and back to pick it up is Ilya Lyubushkin. Leaves it for Fisher. And Fisher quickly ahead. Finds Antoine Roussel moving in, and Roussel could have put that pass back across. It goes astray. And back come the Leafs the other way. Lead pass for Kerfoot. Moves it on Lyubushkin. Kerfoot with Nylander. Nash pokes at it. Picked up though by Nylander. William Nylander pivots back in the corner away from Nash. A centering pass out of the reach of Tavares. Still loose in front. Tavares pokes it down. Nylander is shot. And the save is made by Karel Vejmelka, the starting goaltender for Arizona.
Vejmelka's played 17 times this year. In 14 of those starts, he's had 2 goals or less to work with.
It really is astonishing, Ray. In his first 7 starts of the year, the Coyotes scored 1 or no goals.
Well, his first win was a 46 save shutout. I mean, it's not like he had an easy walk in the park for win 1.
Riley plays it ahead for Mikheyev. Chips it back down to the Coyote zone where Kampf goes after it. David Kampf on his 27th birthday. Digs that free in the corner. Kampf tied up. Looks down to Mikheyev. Along with Simmons, Mikheyev picks that free, but Schmaltz picks it off. Nick Schmaltz bumped into Alex Galchenyuk there and fires it back down to the Leaf zone. Brody back across to Riley. Out to center ice, knocked down by Ritchie. He was tied up, and now Riley back with it. After the game last night, Leaf coach Sheldon Keefe was asked about the minor penalties the Leafs took, and he said, "I didn't like any of them," including one by Ritchie. Spezza centers it. That's knocked down by Krause. Chipped back across by Kessel for Mayo. And Dyson Mayo, Victoria, BC, flips it in, and Hall got crunched there by Krause. Loose puck goes to Larson with a shot that goes high. Larson back on it. And the puck skips back to center ice to Mayo. Cross ice pass for Kessel. That's picked off by Hall. Looks ahead for Spezza. Chips it back down to the Arizona zone. And here is Kessel with it. In the final year of the 8-year deal he signed with Toronto in 2013.
It is amazing when you hear that those long contracts that were signed, all of a sudden they come of age, and you're like, like Patrice Bergeron's contract's up, Kessel's contract's coming up. It's hard to believe.
Now loose in front, Kasha drops it back. Matthews a chance, and a quick stop there by Vejmelka.
That's a good save. What a nice play by Kasha to find Matthews in the slot.
Matthews back with it. Goals in 8 straight on the road. Ties a franchise record for Toronto. Matthews back with it. Slides that back at the point. Timothy Liljegren a shot. That's blocked. Liljegren back in the Toronto lineup. Sandin is out on defense. Joey Anderson draws in at forward. Kyle Clifford's out for the Leafs. The 2 lineup changes tonight. And here's Liljegren with it. Coming out of COVID protocol. Slides it ahead to Nylander. And William Nylander pivots back. Opened the scoring last night and closed it with a shootout goal that clinched it for Toronto. Nylander gains center ice and flips that back down to the Coyote zone. Vejmelka spent the last 7 years in the Czech Extra League. Plays it along the boards. Now picked up by Shane Gostisbehere. Moved up, and the pass for Nash puts him offside, and play is called. 11:56 to go in the opening period. No score on Molson Canadian Leafs hockey. Away from home ties a franchise record held by Daniel Marois, Frank Mahovlich, and Babe Dye.
After a while, it becomes pretty clear that it doesn't matter where a great player plays, he's going to be able to score. A turnover by Arizona ends up on Kasha's stick, and Matthews in position waiting for this shot, and he quickly pivots to put his weight on his back foot to take that pass from Kasha. Vejmelka makes a really nice stop on the delivery.
Now in the corner, a battle for it. As Soderstrom kicks out ahead, out of the reach of Ryan Dzingel, who returns to the Arizona lineup. Mikheyev works back in. Ilya Mikheyev with 4 goals in his last 4 games, and the quick shot there goes wide. Brody feeds it back down to Simmons, looking for Kampf. David Kampf Throws that wide of the goal. Brody chips it back for Mikheyev. Back in behind the goal to Brody. And TJ Brody has a quick look. Throws it back in front. That pass picked off by Schmaltz. Moves it back the other way. Along with Alex Galchenyuk, returns to Arizona. After a long and winding road through the NHL. 7 teams now the last 5 years. Arizona doesn't count for 2 of those visits. Vejmelka turns it over. Matthews mishandled the puck, and now Kessel back the other way. And now a penalty coming as it's played by Mrazek. Touched up there by Larson.
That's a tough break for Lawson Krause as he made a really creative play, actually. The puck's turned over, and he wants to flip it over top of the defense and go around Muzzin and Hall. He knows they're not going to be able to hold him up, but as he goes around him, he clips Jake Muzzin in the face with the stick as he's trying to go right through. Boink. Arizona shorthanded. Arizona has had 28 less power plays than they've had themselves. Been shorthanded 28 more times than they've had power plays. And if you don't have the puck enough, you never draw a penalty.
The Leafs back on the power play. Their power play goal streak ended at 9 games last night in Vegas. And brought out now by Riley Nash. In comes Nash. Tries Riley, shovels that towards the goal, and Mrazek steers that away. Nylander back in the other way, drops it off to Matthews. Austin Matthews snaps that pass across. Kasha put that just wide. A sweet feed from Matthews. Now back at the point is Riley. Back across to Nylander. William Nylander slides that back to Riley. Lots of traffic in front as Tavares is parked right in the top of the crease. At the point is Riley. Nylander shoots, and Vejmelka unscreened makes the stop.
That makes the read for Vejmelka pretty easy with nobody in front of the net. He's able to track that first pass from Riley up top to Nylander. Here's the initial play as Tavares steps out to the left. He thinks that they might work it down low, but when it goes the other way, it's a clean look for the 6'4" Vejmelka.
Originally drafted by Nashville in 2015. Has been excellent in the Czech Republic. His first year now in North America. Mikheyev back to Muzzin. Cross he goes. Spezza quick shot. Rebound loose in front of jam away. Bunting poking at it. And Vejmelka holds his crease and keeps the puck out as the former Coyote came very close on the power play.
Ended up with a broken stick for his trouble as well as Spezza fakes the slapper and then goes down to the goal line, and a quick attack from the goal line by Nick Ritchie is going to result in 3 whacks at the puck. And Vejmelka gets down low. He's got his pads flat and is able to keep it out, even though he gets spun a little bit in the net.
Now Spezza for the face-off against Nash. And that wasn't done at all fairly. Spezza right away gave the linesman stink eye.
And Nash is like, what's wrong with that? I'm ready. Now, but Nash ends up getting kicked out for the draw. Another centerman is Larson.
And he wins that draw, leads to the #1 team in face-off percentage in the NHL. And John Tavares, in particular, has been on a roll of late. He's winning over 70% of his draws the last 5 games. Now Mikheyev, 45 seconds to go in the Leaf power play. Across for Ritchie to Spezza. Spezza centers it, picked up by Bunting. Feeds that back to Muzzin. Cross he goes, Mikheyev. Back into Bunting, chips it back for Spezza. In comes Spezza, winds and shoots. Vejmelka save, rebound, skipped away from Mikheyev. Back on the Coyotes shorthanded. Johan Larsson steps up. In comes Larsson, former Buffalo Sabre. Poke check there by Muzzin. Bunting ran right over the forechecker and plays it back across. Ritchie slides it down as Mayo is back to play it around. Fisher lost the handle. Now it's chopped back down the ice by Arizona.
So a couple good chances off that second power play unit. One, Spezza went to the goal line to Ritchie. Another time he takes a read and then gets a good slapper from the top of the circles.
In comes Kerfoot with an out. Alex Kerfoot winds in. Gostis Bear shielded him off. Back at the point, Lilligren for Kerfoot. Feeds that back. The pass is picked off. And the Coyotes move it out. They get back, an icing called against Arizona.
As the Leafs continually generate a little more pressure, a little more forecheck, eventually you'll break down the Arizona defensive. That defense has 627 NHL games tonight coming into tonight. Their bottom 4 have 47. So eventually you're going to pressure one of these young guys into a mistake.
In comes Morgan Riley with it. Riley, a centering pass. Jam play at the side of the goal, and Kasha taking down another penalty coming to Arizona, and it may be a long one. Leafs back to the power play in a moment. On TSN 4 in the Leafs region and on TSN Radio 1050.
Here's the penalty on Shane Gostisbehere as he, whoa, man, he clips Andre Kasha, who gets that chance off the Riley centering pass. So moments after the 2-minute minor killed by the Coyotes, they're shorthanded again as Gostisbehere in the box for just 2 minutes, as Kasha was not caught on the play.
He claimed he was, but they couldn't detect any blood, I guess. So here's Morgan Riley back on the power play with it to Nylander. Leafs are led by Austin Matthews with 8 power play goals on the year. And Toronto, the #1 ranked power play in the league. They've never finished a season with the #1 power play in the league since the league began keeping track of that stat in the late 1970s. Tavares knocks that back, picked off by Nash. Now moved up slowly by Antoine Roussel. Roussel chips it back down to the Toronto zone. It's amazing, Ray, how hard it is to win back-to-back nights on the road. 87 teams have played back-to-back road games so far. Only 16 of them have swept the 2 games. Tavares walks in, shoots. Vejmelka saves. And that rattled Vejmelka, knocked his mask off. And you could see Vejmelka was a bit stunned by that shot that it broke the strap on his mask, and play is called.
Leafs walk into the zone pretty easily, and plenty of room out wide here for Tavares, and he's got enough room to walk into the net or walk into a scoring spot as he takes that puck from a bad angle into a much better one, and Vejmelka's in position, however, and when the puck doesn't go side to side, it's pretty difficult. You see Vejmelka gets his right catching hand up saying, hey, I get a mask problem, and he gets the whistle, clips the mask back on, and the Leafs will go back at it.
Now Tavares gets tossed, so Matthews will take the draw against Larson. Back at the point, held by Riley. Morgan Riley back across to Matthews. Austin Matthews to Tavares, back for Matthews. Tavares and Matthews crisscross, back at the point. Riley across to Nylander with a quick shot, and Vejmelka makes the glove save.
My playing days may be over, but doesn't mean I'm retired. Now I watch sports full-time, because in retirement, there are no off days. Every game starts at bet99.net.
54 seconds to go in the Leaf power play. And the draw controlled. Nylander pokes that back to Riley. Across he goes to Matthews. Walking in, shoots. And Vejmelka gets a piece of that and knocks it up and out of play.
William Nylander's had 2 one-timers on the 2 power plays. No screen, clean look, not really a dangerous chance. This is a wrist shot from the top of the circles, and it's Matthews delivering it. And Vejmelka's got to be sharp, man. Look at this puck explode off his stick. Man, he's going to need a new mask by the end of this night here as he takes another one off the dome here.
Going to look like one of those old football helmets all streaked up after a game. Here's Larson pulling it out. 35 seconds to go in the Leaf power play. Fed back down to the Toronto zone.
That first power play, the Leafs were pretty much 50-50 between the 2 units. This time, Unit 1 has been out the entire goal.
In comes Riley across the line, and Matthews steps around Lyubushkin. Austin Matthews in front of friends and family. Pivots back for Riley. Riley tees it up for Matthews. Walks in from the other side. Now a centering pass. Tavares, a quick chance. And Vejmelka, another good save for Arizona.
Yeah, beautiful play by the Leafs here. Quick and attack the net. Vejmelka makes another terrific stop as he has to follow the puck from Matthews. Of course, a dangerous shot, a dangerous shooter. Spezza steps out into the goal line, but when he doesn't go below the goal line, that still means that he's a dangerous player. That quick pass out to Tavares, and He gets good wood on this. This is a really good save. You can see the way Vejmelka plays, though. The big guy gets down into that butterfly. He's trying to shut off the top or the bottom half of the net. The play is to go up over the shoulders. Even though he's big, he's concentrated on taking away that bottom half.
Leafs have 10 shots on the power play already of their 15 in the game. Crazy enough, Arizona's been a problem for the Leafs. Leafs have won just 6 in the last 20 meetings overall between the two teams. Move back around. Here's Muzzin with it. And as time expires in the power play, Kampf crisscrossing with Mikheyev. And Mikheyev slides that back to Hall. Mikheyev crisscrossing with Muzzin. Jake Muzzin, a long shot that deflects wide. Hall plays it back around, knocked down by Mikheyev. And Mikheyev with 4 goals his last 4 games finds Hall. Back down to Simmons. Kampf pokes at it. Boyd got it away from him, but it's gloved down by Muzzin. Plays it right back in for Toronto. Just a matter of prying this thing open, but so far no luck. Chip back. Now brought in by Keller with a quick shot. He fired that wide. Andrew Ladd the pass there. The 16-year NHL veteran. It's a new lease on life in Arizona. Ray played just 4 games the previous 2 years for the Islanders. Now a quick chance for Dzingel. Puts that high off the glass. Bouncing puck. Dzingel again. Scores! Dzingel pokes it by Mrazek. And just the 3rd shot of the period for Arizona goes in. And the Coyotes have a 1-0 lead.
Arizona hasn't had a shot in about 13 minutes here. Remember the Keller shot on the first shift of the game. Mrazek made a nice glove save. And Ryan Dzingel, who's missed the last 7 games, is able to punch a rebound into the net. A poor decision here to break the puck out as Dermott fires this into the feet of Liljegren, and Dzingel takes the puck off the boards, touches it twice, and as Mrazek goes out to catch it, Dzingel chips it into the net. And here's the danger of a couple of power plays, 10 shots, and now you got to chase the game a little bit. I mean, Arizona certainly feels great about scoring the first goal, but you can see how the game goes. And for Toronto, you can't get frustrated. You can't start to panic a little. You just got to play the game. Your lineup should beat that lineup. Doesn't always work that way. Now you're down 1.
First time in 6 games the Leafs have allowed the first goal of the hockey game. And for the Coyotes, just the 13th time this year in 34 games that they've scored first.
Well, they never play with the lead. Almost never have the Coyotes had the lead. A 2-goal lead is something they just never have.
Spezza back with it, so Dzingel gets the goal unassisted. That's his 3rd of the year, his first since November the 20th. Signed to a 1-year deal in the offseason.
Well, that breakout couldn't have gone much worse with Dermott and Liljegren, and it just turned into a mess. And a rebound off the glass ends up in the net.
Now Kerfoot chips it in, knocked away by Gostisbehere, but right in the stick of Tavares. And John Tavares goes after it. Krause stepped into him. Tavares a quick chance. Vejmelka turns that away. And the goaltending of Karl Vejmelka, another part of the early story here in this one. Another shot by Hall goes wide. Kerfoot reaches for it. Vejmelka down, reaches back, and with the blocker, covers that. Ryan Dzingel's opened the scoring. Coyotes a 1-0 lead on Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN.
Possession of the puck, and when he goes to break it out, he drops it into the feet of Liljegren. The puck bounces kind of oddly, and when he tries to chip it away, it hits Dzingel once and then gets chipped into the net. But the Leafs should be able to break that puck out. There's not that much pressure. That's a pass that Dermott has to give a better play to Liljegren, but Liljegren's got to give him a better out than that too.
In comes Hall with it now, back for Muzzin. Muzzin a shot, Vejmelka save, rebound, Tavares sends it back in front. And that's swatted away by Krause. Kerfoot slides that back at the point. Hall's pass is picked off by Kessel. In comes Phil Kessel on Muzzin, shoots. That goes off the arm of Mrazek. A quick release there by Phil Kessel. And now brought back by the Leafs. Nylander walks right in, shoots up the goal post. Bringing off the pipe, he and Tavares breaking in. Another chance at time for Liljegren, that's turned away. Nylander moves around Lyubushkin, plays it back for Tavares. To Nylander. Moser watching him. And back in the corner, Lyubushkin with it, being forechecked by Bunting. Up along the boards, Larson can't reach it. Matthews had it knocked away on the line, played back in, but the Leafs were offside. They've got to tag back up. Chopped up by Janis Moser. On the stick of Bunting. In comes Bunting. Throws it back in front. Knocked down by Moser. And a quick outlet pass for Keller. Clayton Keller moves in. That's knocked away by Liljegren.
Offside, offside!
Moved back in by Dyson Mayo, who's played more minutes so far than any skater on either team. In comes Matthews. Austin Matthews works in. Poke check from behind by Nash. Gets it back. Matthews goes barreling in. Takes a defenseman and the goalie down. The net comes off. Bunting into it now with Roussel, who's dropped a glove. And nothing comes of that.
Anton Roussel came over in the Oliver Ekman-Larson trade with Vancouver as he tries to grab and goad Bunting into a penalty. Is not really sure why he's so upset with Bunting. He pushed him into the net. Anyway, here's 2-on-1 early. Nylander looks like he wants to go across to Tavares, but that pass isn't there. He drags it into the middle a little bit and rings it off the short side post as the Leafs have 18 shots on goal, plus a goal post. It looks like Bunting is the only guy in the penalty box.
So Bunting goes.
Oh, it is going to be 4-on-4.
So Roussel will go as well. Now with 2.5 to go in the first period, it'll be 4-on-4.
There's the little scuffle there as Bunting gets 2 minutes for being in the vicinity of the thing, and Roussel gets 2 minutes for being Antoine Roussel.
And Sheldon Keefe wondering along those same lines as well, one would think. Dyson Mayo back with a 5th-round pick of Arizona back in 2014. Spent 5 full years in the AHL. A quick chance on the turnover for Riley. Put that wide.
Man, what a play by Matthews behind the net to set up Nylander, and Vejmelka, another terrific stop.
Now Mayo drops it back. Working in his Clayton Keller. Shoots. Saved by Mrazek. The rebound dropped down. Keller almost got to it. Now to get back at it. Another quick chance for Boyd. That's turned away. Travis Boyd. In his 5th NHL year, signed a 1-year deal with the Coyotes. Tavares drops it back. Poked up by Nylander. William Nylander plays it back around, but picked up by Gostisbehere. Shane Gostisbehere, the former Philadelphia Flyer.
He's had a good year for the Coyotes. He's been their #1 offensive threat from the blue line. Top 20 in a lot of offensive categories.
Now drop back to Zingle, centers it. And Schmaltz fanned on that. Schmaltz back at the line, but it skipped off his stick and back out. Now Nick Schmaltz plays it back across for to Zingle, who has the Coyotes goal. Paul tied up in the corner, plays it back around for Kerfoot. Alex Kerfoot for Mikheyev. And then Mikheyev. That pass goes off the stick of Krause. Stolen back by Mikheyev. In on Moser. Mikheyev holds, slides it back, and that shot taken by Kasha is stopped by Vejmelka again.
Another strong play by Mikheyev to set up Kasha. Another stop for Vejmelka, but the previous chance was Matthews' work. The save once off a Nylander by Vejmelka. And this shot rings off the post, as well as the Leafs have done everything but score here. 20 shots and a couple of goal posts here in the first period.
Gostisbehere leaves it there for Kessel. And away comes Kessel. Gets around Liljegren. In comes Phil Kessel with a shot. Mrazek save. Rebound. Loose in front. Still loose. And Larson couldn't quite reach it.
Oh, Kessel went around Liljegren there a little bit too easily. A nice dash by Kessel.
Here's Matthews. Shovels that back at the point for Liljegren. Liljegren to Matthews. Spins around Mayo. Matthews still with it. Drops it back. Liljegren shoots. That goes off a leg and wide. Liljegren still looking for his first NHL goal in his 33rd career game. And here's Gostisbehere with it. Shane Gostisbehere played a legendary NCAA Frozen Four final for Union College. He was +7 in the NCAA championship game. As time winds down here in the opening period, and there'll be talk of a trap game coming up. One would think in our first intermission. Dzingel has the only goal, a 1-0 Arizona lead after one. Coming up, James Duthie and the panel in 20 minutes. And time now for your Napa high-performance part of the game.
Well, in that first period, it was Carl Vejmelka. What a tremendous period of hockey. He played 20 saves, as you mentioned, Gord. One thing I noticed when the Leafs are shooting the puck here, that puck's going to have to go up top on Vejmelka. He's a big guy who drops in the butterfly, and the bottom half of the net just vanishes. Grade A chances for the Leafs. They had a couple of goal posts in that period, but going low on Vejmelka doesn't seem to be the right formula.
Began the year 0-9-1 in the Coyotes goal in his first National Hockey League season, as the Coyotes really struggled to score goals. And at one point, Ray, Arizona's being talked about as a team that could challenge the old Atlanta Thrashers for the worst win percentage in the last 25 years in the NHL.
Well, there's a lot of games to go here, Gord. They're halfway home though, 7 wins. We had 14 in Atlanta. It's a lot of work to get to 14, you know.
And you beat the Avalanche that year?
No, in overtime, 5-4. Do you want to know who scored the overtime winner?
Tell me.
Oh, gee, that was me. We only won 14 games. It was like a parade, man.
14, that's a long year, man.
Oh, and early on you realize, and as these guys do, there's going to be a lot of long nights. And so whether you're outshot 20-6 like this or not, you drive right by that. You're like, yeah, we'd like it to be better, but we got the lead.
We talked about the lack of goal support for Vejmelka, who's got the lowest goal support in the NHL this year. Some of the worst in the last 25 years. Jamie McLennan.
Lots of young noodles, isn't it?
The last 30 years, the expansion Minnesota Wild scored 1.48 goals a game for him.
I remember playing those teams. They didn't give up anything. They didn't score anything. Like each game was a 2-1 check fest.
Jacques Lemaire, the architect of those teams, the head coach. This is brought up by Clayton Keller. Keller drops it back to Ladd. Ladd goes rink wide. The pass in behind Boyd. And now Ladd back on it. Ladd trying to poke that back in front. He's in the 6th year of a 7-year deal. He signed with the Islanders as a free agent. And a shot now by Moser. Blocked and sent back down the ice. And the Leafs call for icing. The faceoff back down to the Toronto zone.
Phil Kessel had a pretty good first period. Had a nifty rush when he went around Liljegren and had a good scoring chance. We talked about Kessel and the last year of his contract as he walks up towards the trade deadline, and teams will be looking and evaluating to see what Phil Kessel might be able to do with their team as they try to picture them. What would he be like with a different center in a different role?
Playing in his 934th consecutive game tonight, the 2nd longest active streak in the league, the 3rd longest all time. Judd Jarvis's record will be broken this year, likely by Keith Yandle first. As Keller has a look from the Arizona bench. Keller's got the 4th longest active streak. Ray, he's more than 600 consecutive games behind his teammate Kessel.
It's just remarkable that these guys have been able to play like they have for as long as they have. You know, Yandle at 957, so 7 games short of Jarvis's record. That record ended on a healthy scratch in Boston. We were playing for Hartford, and Kessel, or rather Doug Jarvis, was a healthy scratch, and that was the end of the streak.
Now back at the point. Here's Kerfoot, along wrist shot, goes off a leg and wide. Lyubushkin banks that head to Krause. He finds Kessel, who last missed a game in October of 2009, coming off shoulder surgery. Missed the first month of the season that year. Hasn't missed one since. In comes Riley. Morgan Riley moves in, and the play is called at the Arizona line. And when you talk about the streak, he might be the most unlikely guy when you think about it to be on this list. But Jarvis set the mark at 964, Yandle's at 957, and Kessel third at 934.
You could put anybody up in that picture, and I would say it's incredibly unbelievable that somebody could be in that picture. Like Keith Yandle's a defenseman. Like, how do you get to 957 games in a row without breaking a foot or something like that?
Well, you're going to shot. That deflects wide.
Tough, lucky. It all kind of goes in together.
Now Dermott, a long shot. That's punched away by Vejmelka. Ligon drops that back. Picked off and brought out now by Koyachonok. Put that rink wide, and now Koyachonok leaves it there for Roussel, who plays it off the side of the goal. Scooped up now by Kampf. Lead pass chipped in by Mikheyev, and Lyubushkin goes back as Kampf steps into him. And here's Dzingel, who has the only goal in the game so far. Dzingel fires that back down. Mrazek out to play it, being forced there by Fisher. And Ritchie picks it back up for the Leafs. Back around to Riley. Morgan Riley. Up for Ritchie. Chips that back down to the Coyote zone. Moser goes back. Longtime Swiss international, Janis Moser. Played a couple World Juniors for them. And Galchenyuk has to retreat. That's knocked away from him. Spezza plays it back. And that long shot by Brody hits some traffic in front. Back net by Spezza. It goes high. Now Ritchie steps into Lyubushkin. Up ahead for Moser, who chips at it. Ritchie holds the line and shoots. He fired that high. Hall. Back at the point. That's knocked away from him. Picked off by Matthews. In comes Austin Matthews. A shot from Vejmelka makes the save.
It's another low shot. As Matthews walks away from Schmaltz on the boards and gets right into the middle of the ice again. I do believe the puck has to go up top on Vejmelka here.
Hall plays it back around. Here's Kasha with it. Kasha centers it, and Bunting couldn't knock it down. Hall with a quick shot. Vejmelka save. Rebound loose in front. Moser plays it back. Vejmelka still down. The puck stays out as Wes McCauley calls it right on the goal line. And here's Bunting with it. Back down low. Moser picks it up. Bouncing puck in the corner. Kasha shot goes off a leg. Now a penalty came. McCauley's got the arm in the air. It's going against the Leafs. And Krause comes back the other way. And Mrazek touches up, and the Leafs will be shorthanded as Austin Matthews goes off.
34, Toronto's got a minor for a hook.
Some crazy moments around the front of the net as the Leafs get this opportunity. Now Lyubushkin and Matthews are flailing away at it. The hands come up high on from Lyubushkin here and catch Matthews. The penalty will be a little later, right in the slot, as Vejmelka makes a save, and a wild scramble, and it's still 1-0. Coyotes with their first power play. Just 13 power play goals in 33 games this year.
Now Kessel swings that rink wide. The shot bounces around in front. Loose behind the goal to Boyd. Boyd around to Kessel. Knocked away from him, and Kerfoot brings it back out. Alex Kerfoot chips it in. Back goes Larson, leaves it there for Ladd. Andrew Ladd. Drops that back, and it's brought in by Kessel. Kessel across the line, swings that rink wide, poked ahead by Larson. And now Kessel has to gather it back up at center ice. Ladd pokes it back in, Muzzin on it. And now Boyd reaching for it. Boyd back around to Kessel. Picked up by Larson. Johan Larson bumped by Mikheyev. And now scooped up by Kerfoot. And Leafs need to change as Kerfoot buys some time and just throws that down on Vejmelka. Arizona 31st in the league in goals for. Only Montreal has scored fewer goals per game.
And that puts both of them at the bottom of the standings points-wise as well.
Keller across to Krause. Drops that back to Gostisbehere. He feeds it back, and a hard shot by Fisher, kicked away by Mrazek. Keller flies it back to Gostisbehere. Back to Clayton Keller. Krause with a quick shot. Mrazek save. Rebound cleared away by Riley.
That's a good save through the traffic for Mrazek. He had to fight for that one.
Krause back on it for Keller. Tries to feed that back. Kampf picks it off and sends it back down the ice. 10 seconds to go in the Arizona power play. Here's Gostisbehere with it. Got a couple of goals in his last 4 games. The Shane Gostisbehere. Keller back across to Schmaltz. Power play is over. Schmaltz gets bumped there by Dermott. Knocked down by Nylander. Out with Matthews. And Schmaltz chips that back to Gostisbehere. Back out of the Leaf zone. Liljegren. Cross to Tavares. And back to Dermott. Liljegren, a lead pass for Matthews. Tied up in the corner by Koyachonok. Vladislav Koyachonok. Battle in the corner. Now Nylander with it. Dermott winds and shoots, and Vejmelka makes the stop. 13 to go here in the second period. Arizona with a 1-0 lead on Molson Canadian from the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, Peacemaker. An HBO Max original streams Thursday, January 13th, only on Crave. So 13 to go here in the second period. And it remains a 1-0 lead for Arizona. And there was Austin Matthews' parents, Mom Emma, Dad Brian. A remarkable story about how he fell in love with hockey. Everyone else was playing different sports, but he got into the Coyotes. Went their house was near the practice rink for the Coyotes. He went down a lot, got to know some of the players. Shane Doan was an early influence on him. And in fact, Shane Doan's son Josh is a Coyotes draft pick, and he too is a promising player. He leads all Division I freshmen in scoring playing at Arizona State.
Shane had been kept in the dark a little bit about the Coyotes' interest in his son, as Shane works in management there, and you don't want to think it's about any favors paid to you yet. So they wanted him, they wanted to select him, they did, and Josh Doan is off to a terrific start. Good for him.
Kasha plays it ahead. He finds Bunting. Back for Kasha. Trying to swing that back in front. That was knocked away. Now Bunting lines it back at the point. Muzzin back in for Kasha. And the Austin Matthews story would have been unusual a few years ago. Not so much now. On their last World Junior team, players from 16 different states. And another young star, this one Clayton Keller from Chesterfield, Missouri, just outside St. Louis. Hall with it. Hall feeds it ahead to Matthews. Moves around Gostisbehere. Matthews reaching for it, kicks it back off the stick. Matthews still with it, got tied up with McCauley, and the puck comes out. By the way, happy belated birthday to Wes McCauley, 50 yesterday.
One of the league's very best officials, certainly the most entertaining. I don't hope for fights very often, but I just like hearing them call them.
Here's Simmons back across. And that puck poked away from Mikheyev. Back goes Brody for it. Kessel watching him. T.J. Brody. Rink wide finds Mikheyev in with Spezza. And Mikheyev tries to dig that free. Got bumped in the corner by Lyubushkin. And Brody back with it. Spezza feeds it across to Riley. Lyubushkin gets bumped there by Simmons. And now Spezza trying to dig it free, and does. Mikheyev lays it back across, and a hard shot by Joey Anderson that's kicked away by Vejmelka. Dermott out the head for Spezza. That pass goes off a skate. Liljegren jumps up and flips that wide. Now Spezza back on it. Spezza from a sharp angle bounces back to the point. Dermott pokes it ahead. And now Lawson Krause rather kicks it out for Arizona. Ritchie tied up along the boards. And Lyubushkin goes back. That's taken away by Tavares. John Tavares with the steal, goes back to Liljegren. At the point is Dermott. He's got fresh legs on the ice. At the point is Tavares now. John Tavares. With a look, shoots, that tips high and wide. Off the glass, Liljegren. Down to Nylander. Long time in the offensive zone now for Toronto. Tavares gets squeezed there by Moser.
Keith going back to Matthews again here now with Tavares and Nylander.
Now, shot by Dermott's block. Chance for the Coyotes. And Krause taken down. Dermott picks up the loose puck.
Krause was at the end of a marathon shift, had nothing left, but a nice effort by Nylander to come back.
Koyachonok. Plays it back around to Moser. And Fisher moves it out for Arizona. Dzingel can't quite reach it. And back come the Leafs trying to hunt it down again. Pavelka put that in the stick of Kerfoot. Banks that back Muzzin. Jake Muzzin. In for Kerfoot. Bunting with it now. Bunting to Kerfoot. Centering pass. Bounces away. Kasha gets a shot blocked. Kerfoot trying to dig it free. The puck is tangled up there with Kasha. Kicks it ahead away from Fisher. And Moser backhands it, but not out. Held by Kasha. Rink wide to Hall. Hall in. Shoots. Milk a save. And Bunting reaching for it. Hall. Back down to Kerfoot retrieving his stick. Here's Bunting playing it back. To Muzzin. Muzzin feeds it in. Kasha spins and shoots. Goes off a skate. Bouncing high in front. And finally Koyachonok plays it back down to the Leaf zone. And as they go back, icing called against the Coyotes.
Is it time for a change? Ozempic is now covered across Canada by all public and most private plans. Ask your doctor or visit ozempic.ca to learn more.
Well, he is one of the most highly respected and one of the most entertaining officials in the game. Wes McCauley, a pretty good college player in his day. His dad, John McCauley, a legendary National Hockey League referee. But if you ask coaches and players around the league, who would you want officiating a 7th game? Almost all would have him on the list.
Well, back in the day, of course, there was just one official. Wes strikes me as the type of official that would be in control of a game. That he wouldn't have needed the partner. It just would be a way he carries himself, the way he calls a game, that he would have been able to do it.
Brody knocks it down for Riley. In the corner to Matthews. 8.5 to go here in the second period. Austin Matthews picks it free. Drops that back to Riley. Morgan Riley shoots. Vilka makes the stop and is able to hang on. Well, the Maple Leafs saddened to learn of the passing of Phil Samus, a member of their Stanley Cup team in 1948. The Leafs won the Cup in 47, 48, and 49. At the age of 94, he was the last living Maple Leaf from the Stanley Cup dynasty of that era. In the bench tonight for Arizona, the Coyotes, as you mentioned, Ray, have 5 players in COVID protocol, plus 2 coaches and 5 more players injured.
What a difficult task for them to try and figure out what your lineup is, because they didn't have any clarity on that really until this morning, and just try and hold your undermanned team together here. And on the back of a pretty remarkable first 32 minutes by Carl Vejmelka, they have a 1-0 lead.
Gostisbehere back for it. Chips it towards the Leaf line, but Tavares knocks it down and plays it back down to the Arizona zone. Coyotes are likely not going to play in this arena next year, and hoping for a good vote tomorrow as that shot by Nylander is turned away by Vejmelka. Kerfoot takes the return pass. Swings it down to Riley. That shot is blocked as Gostisbehere got in the way. Tempe City Council vote tomorrow on an arena proposal, but it looks like it doesn't have the votes, and the Coyotes are looking for a long-term place to play, but more importantly, a short-term place if they're not back here next year. In comes Schmaltz with it. Steps around Brody. Brody stays with him. Down goes Schmaltz. Puck loose in the corner. Kerfoot with it. Back in the corner for Riley. 30-10. The shots on goal in favor of Toronto. 1-0 Arizona leads. Victor Soderstrom leaves that for Ladd. And now Lyubushkin back to pick it up. Lead pass at center ice. Boyd chips out ahead. Keller spins back at center. Back for Lyubushkin. And now move back down to the Leaf zone. Mrazek back to pick it up. Leafs will go on to St. Louis for a Saturday game against the Blues. As Mayo moves that away. Picked up now by Gostisbehere. Rink wide pass to Keller. Needs a change and backhands it back down to the Toronto zone as Muzzin's back to pick it up. Jake Muzzin. Cross to Hall. Puts it back down to the Coyote zone. Gostisbehere goes back. Gathered back up and moved up by Mayo for Larson. In comes Larson. Walks in. Plays it back across. And coming back was Ritchie to tick that pass away.
It's a good stick by Ritchie. That's a dangerous chance potentially that he foils with good positioning.
Moser up for Krause, in with Larson. Lawson Krause drops it back. Kessel finds Larson. It skips off his stick and wide. Inside 6 to go here in the second. Larson feeds that back at the point. Lyubushkin a long shot. That deflects wide. Bouncing puck. Kessel couldn't reach it. Poked back by Krause. Moser plays it back in deep, and Mrazek back to play it for the Leafs. Mrazek playing just his 10th period of the season. Last played on December 11th as that shot went off the official's foot and bounced back in front. Matthews lays it ahead. Return pass from Bunting knocked away. And now knocked down and played ahead. Bunting back down for Kasha. Bunting picks it back up from a sharp angle. His pass is blocked. And it bounces back to Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk for Schmaltz, and back down to the Leaf zone as Brody plays it away. Riley to Brody. Up ahead to Kasha. 5 to go in the second period. In comes Bunting with a chance. Bunting shoots, and Vejmelka makes the save. He pounces on the loose puck. The shots keep piling up for the Leafs, but it remains a 1-0 Arizona lead on Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN.
Matthews trying to figure out how to get on the board tonight, but it's been a good season.
Boy, look at the Red Wings, Raymond and Seider, and Michael Bunting just qualifies in terms of age and number of games played, still a rookie.
He gets outside of Ryan Dzingel here. That old broken record time. That puck's got to go up top. Look at Vejmelka's out. He's down, and you're not getting him low to the ice. I mean, for 35 minutes, he's been terrific. Bunting, Matthews, and Kasha have been around the front of the net again a lot tonight, but it's 31 up and 31 down so far for Vejmelka.
Now Tavares with a steal from Roussel finds Nylander, who flutters that down. Left a 6'4", 225-pound goaltender. Nylander plays it back, bounces off Kerfoot's stick. Hall to Muzzin, shoots. That goes high and wide. And Tavares picks it back up. Dyson Mayo, former Edmonton Oil King, plays it back down to the Leaf zone. And Hall plays it back around. A lot of unfamiliar names for casual fans, to be sure, with Arizona. And maybe the ones you know, likely on the move at the deadline. Camp tries to center it. Bounces back at the point, knocked down by Dermott. Rattles that wide. Picked up now by Liljegren. Back goes to Mikheyev. Ilya Mikheyev picks that free. And now it bounces back. Camp with a shot, goes off a leg and bounces back out to center ice. Phil Kessel back out there for Arizona in the 2 Pittsburgh Stanley Cup years in 2016 and 2017. He had more playoff goals than anyone. 18 in those 2 playoff years.
And he was fantastic in those playoffs. He just, when he went to Pittsburgh, it just fit. It was the right place at the right time for him.
Now bouncing puck in front. Matthews plays it across, and Mikheyev couldn't reach that. Now Matthews loose behind the goal. Austin Matthews thought about the lacrosse move, now spins and shoots. That dribbles wide.
And he's been all over it tonight. For whatever the mark has been of not getting the puck into the net, Matthews has been all over it. Been by far the most dangerous Leaf.
And he was thinking about it there, wasn't he? Kind of had the puck on the blade and
just flopped off before he was able to scoop it and wrap it around the net.
Now Riley fires it down. Picked up by Gostisbehere. Out for Larson. Rink wide pass finds Kessel. Puts it back down, and Brody being shadowed there by Ladd. Spent most of the last 2 years in the American Hockey League as the Islanders buried his contract in the minors. Now Riley being forced there by Keller, but moves it back to center. Scooped up by Hall. In comes Hall with it now. Tries Lyubushkin. Hall centers it. That's tapped wide by Matthews. Hall still with it. Matthews picks it up behind the goal. Matthews back with it. Oh, what a move in the corner. Spins Boyd around, feeds that back to Muzzin. Muzzin shoots. That goes wide up the other side. Joey Anderson reaching for it. Anderson can't quite get there. Spezza digging for it. Off the bench comes Ritchie. 2 to go in the second period. Still 1-0 Coyotes. And Ladd brings it out and finds Keller. Back goes Muzzin to pick it up. Muzzin snaps that pass ahead. Out of the reach of Spezza, and icing called against the Leafs. And here it is.
And Matthews up over 15 minutes in the game here tonight. He's had some dangerous opportunities. You see him come around the back, and he wants to get that puck up on the toe of his blade so he can wrap it around the top of the net. It just flips off and ends up as a missed chance.
Now, technically, to be called a lacrosse move, you have to press the puck down on the ice and pick it up, don't you?
And if you can get it to sit on the blade of your stick, and you're good enough to do that, you can call it whatever you want.
1:45 to go in the second.
I guess if I was going to critique anything, it would be just a little more urgency when they have the puck in the offensive zone. They've been down there enough almost the entire night, but maybe a little more urgency taking the puck to the net. Make the Coyotes' inexperienced defense defend, not just play one play and out in the corner.
Here's Spezza with it down. Brings it back around, picked up by Dermott. Travis Dermott winds his way in. Dermott spins, throws that towards the goal off the outside of the frame. Dermott back with it. Moved back up by Galchenyuk. And back out of the Leaf zone, icing waved off as Tavares goes back. Galchenyuk still looking for his first goal of the year. Hasn't scored since the playoff series against Montreal as a Leaf last year. Back comes Brody. Back across. Riley with a chance. That deflects wide. And Riley Nash off the glass and back up. Picked up by Fisher, who fires it back down to the Leaf zone. Pass across by Kerfoot. Bounces back to Tavares, and leaping to knock that down is Gostisbehere.
Great ups by Gostisbehere.
Roussel drops it back. In comes Gostisbehere. Teed it up and shoots. Mrazek gets a shoulder on that. Now Keller a chance. Bounces it on in front. Loose puck goes back to Nylander, and Nylander drops it back for Kerfoot. Time winding down here in the period. In comes Kerfoot for Nylander. In shoots, and Vamilka gets a piece of that. Now drop back again.
Oh,
chance
save.
Matthews turned away by Vamilka. Another glove save. This time by Brody, and Carl Vamilka is putting on a show for Arizona.
Uh-oh, now you're starting to get into the point where you're like, is this one of those nights where the goaltender has it, and no matter what you do, it's not going to be enough? An unbelievable play by Kerfoot to send in William Nylander. Little feathery dish here. Nylander's shot is stopped by Vamilka. Now the play's not dead. This is a terrific leg save on Matthews, and then the late shot from Brody goes up top, and Vamilka gets that one too, with Kerfoot standing all over top of him. Matthews is going to come straight off the bench, and that's why he's so clean and open. That's a quick release pad stop and then glove stop, and the Leafs still have nothing late in the second period.
In his 20th National Hockey League game, Carl Vamilka making a statement here tonight. Again, not getting much goal support, but one so far has been enough through 40 minutes. The Coyotes have a 1-0 lead coming up our second intermission with James Duffy.
All right, thank you, Gordon. Well, one man is story in this game so far. He's been absolutely spectacular. Bob McKenzie, Jeff O'Neill, Dave Poulin. Plus, more from those other two games. Joe Pavelski was chasing a hat trick tonight and came within a hair.
2 goals in 4 games played in his hometown of Greater Phoenix. We'll call it that. This arena is across town from where he grew up in Scottsdale.
Out in Glendale, I mean, I remember when they built this rink, we would drive out there and it seemed like it was forever away from downtown where we stayed. And there was a farmer's field.
Yes.
That had this rusted old equipment in the corner. That's when you knew you were close. Now, that's where the football stadium is.
Now Matthews in, shoots, scores just like that. 14 seconds in, Austin Matthews ties the game and sets a Leaf franchise record. That's 9 straight road games with a goal.
We talked about Vamilka in the first. We talked about Matthews in the second and how dangerous he has been. A puck that he jumps on in the neutral zone, and his shot up high over the shoulder of Vamilka makes it 1-1. This shot goes through Gostisbehere and beats Vamilka up on the blocker side, and Austin Matthews has another one. and the Leafs are tied at 1.
24th of the year for Austin Matthews. And finally, the Leafs get one by Vejmelka.
17 goals and 15 for Matthews.
Mayo back across to Lyubushkin. Lead pass for Larson, knocked down, taken away by Matthews. Quickly ahead to Bunting. Bunting gets a step on Gostisbehere. Drops it back. Matthews spins back in the corner. Matthews goes rink wide to Riley. Morgan Riley, little slap pass, goes off Bunting's stick and bounces back to Kessel. Now a steal, this time by Kasha, and played back out by Gostisbehere. Kessel drops that back to Lyubushkin. So what the fans came to see in Arizona, the hometown boy scores, and it's a 1-1 tie here early in the third. Nylander, a rink wide pass, knocked down by Kerfoot. Lyubushkin steps into him. Tavares trying to dig it free. Back at the point is Hall. Chips it back to Tavares. In behind the goal is Nylander, William Nylander. Back for Kerfoot. At the line, Muzzin has to retreat. Crisp lead pass, but Kerfoot knocked off the puck, and Keller gathers it back up. And away comes Clayton Keller. He and Austin Matthews, two of the highest scoring players in the history of the U.S. National Team Development Program. Dermott sent his man Soderstrom flying. Ligon rink wide for Mikheyev. And Mikheyev swings that back down to the Arizona zone. Vejmelka leaves it there for Fisher. Across to Soderstrom. Mikheyev got a piece of that. Chopped back out by Roussel. Loose at center ice and back down to the Arizona zone. Boyachonok got hammered down there by Simmons. Nash sends the lead pass in. Fisher goes after, but taken away by Riley. Morgan Riley pivots. Up ahead for Simmons. Simmons drops it off to Camp. In comes Camp to Simmons with a shot. Goes off a stick and wide. They battle for it behind the goal. DeZingle had to take it away. Ritchie comes in, wins that battle for the puck. Ritchie takes it away from Mayo, goes back to Brody. Riley with a shot, tipped in front by Ritchie. Vejmelka down. Ritchie takes a late poke at him. Tyson Mayo takes exception, but Vejmelka's got it.
Off the opening face-off of this third period, it doesn't take Austin Matthews long to pick up this loose puck and tie this game at 1 with a patented Matthews release for goal 24.
And now a Leaf franchise record, scoring in 9 straight on the road.
Remember the old famous Harry Neal quote as a coach, he couldn't find a place that they could win at, not home or on the road, and his failure was he couldn't find another place to play. For Matthews, it doesn't matter where he plays. He puts the puck in the back of the net.
Riley sends it back in deep. Picked up by Ladd, who drops it back. Now knocked down. Anderson with a chance in front. Vejmelka save, and Joey Anderson put that wide. Ritchie on it. Nick Ritchie banks that back. Muzzin a long shot that goes wide. Ladd back with it. Boyd plays it around for Lyubushkin. And Lyubushkin up for Keller. He got bottled up by Muzzin. And play is called. 3.5 into the third period.
Meet the hockey players redefining the game. Watch Breaking Ice, presented by Uninterrupted Canada and EA Sports with Xbox at youtube.com/uninterrupted.
Leafs will be in St. Louis on Saturday. Coyotes' next 2 games have been postponed. They've got some time to get their injured and COVID-restricted players back in the line. Now a 2-on-1 for Arizona. Larson works in, back for Kessel, chips that wide. Mrazek down, Bunting plays it away. So a rare scoring chance for Arizona there. Now Matthews moves around Krause. Spins it back to Riley. Riley back to Matthews. Plays that back to Nylander, a long shot, and Vejmelka makes the glove save.
Just 12 shots on goal here into the third period, and as Brody pinches, they don't have any forward support. Everybody's chasing back to the net. Riley slides. The slide takes Larson to the left to hold on to the puck. Mrazek actually misses that poke check, and Kessel just chips it wide of the net before Bunting can get in the way. Not an easy game for Mrazek. He played December 11th. Was his last one, and now he's got 12 shots in 45 minutes of play.
His last start was a crazy one. That one December 11th. Leafs had a 4-1 lead. Chicago came back to tie it up at 4 in the third period until a lucky bouncer, David Kampf, the puck went off the end glass right to his stick. He scored the winner late in the third period. Fisher, rink wide to Lyubushkin. Now Roussel chips it in. Lyubushkin with a rolling puck back in the corner. Slides it back to Nash. Nash a long shot. Bouncing puck goes to Tavares, who chips it back ahead. Into the feet of Nylander on the breakaway. Nylander in. And Soderstrom came back. Might have got a stick on that. And now play call. We got a penalty coming, a high sticking call coming.
That's going to be on Nylander. What a great play by Tavares to recognize Nylander had jumped the pack. And he flips this up over top.
Toronto number 88, 2 minutes.
And Soderstrom's chasing him down. Nylander's going to go and spin to get the puck back, and when he spins, he ends up hitting Soderstrom from behind. Enough of a bother there, and the puck ends up flipping up off of Nylander's stick, and there comes the high stick. And the Leafs, after missing a breakaway and tying the game at 1, are now shorthanded for the second time.
Face-off won by Kampf on his 27th birthday, celebrating it by doing what he does best, winning face-offs shorthanded in his own zone.
He's the go-to for, as we've seen time and again, that Sheldon Keefe has grown to trust him in very short order.
Larson drops it back to Kessel. In comes Kessel with it. Larson trying to knock it down, sent back down the ice by Kasha. Giannis Moser, second-round pick of Arizona, the last NHL draft. Drops it back. Here's Larson with it. Johan Larson back across to Boyd. That's picked off and set down the ice by Kerfoot.
The Leafs are pretty aggressive on the entry here, and the Coyotes don't have a lot of skill to move the puck in, so you take it out of their skill guys' hands, and you're probably going to get it back pretty quick.
No Arizona player has more than 2 power play goals.
They only got 13 on the season.
Sent back down the ice. Vamilka leaves it there.
0 for 6 in their last game against Nashville.
That was a bitter contest, that one. Schmaltz to Keller. Keller tied up by Kampf. Now played back across. Fisher in, shoots. Mrazek knocked that away. Collided with Hall. Krause got that back in the corner, taken by Kampf and sent back down the ice. 20 seconds to go in the Coyotes power play. Here's Gostisbehere with it. Drops that back to Keller. For Gostisbehere, knocked down by Muzzin. Kampf back with it. He finds Kasha. And in comes Kasha shorthanded, flips that ahead. Lyubushkin had to knock that down. And the power play is over for Arizona. Still a 1-1 tie here in the third period. Long lead pass for Fisher, but icing called against Arizona.
Really good kill for the Leafs. Just the one shot they gave up to Fisher that Mrazek was able to block her aside. The face-off, Matthews is signaling he wants it over on the other side of the ice. So he'll get that draw on his strong side.
A subtle rule change, but one that's made a difference.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. You're able to try and take advantage of the icing call. The Coyotes have gummed up this change, so everybody's going to get a little bit of a break here. Nylander out with Bunting and Matthews here in the third. The Leafs' 2 most dangerous forwards in this game, Nylander and Matthews, have had all kinds of chances. Matthews, of course, has the 1 Leaf goal.
Nylander knocks that down for Liljegren. Nylander back with it. Quite a sequence on that Nylander penalty. An amazing pass by Tavares.
Right.
Nylander wasn't even looking when the puck landed.
I guess it's like a center fielder on a long fly ball. You just go back and look for it over the top of your hat. So Nylander's looking for it to come down. He stayed on side and had a breakaway for a moment.
Picked up by Bunting. Back for Nylander. Rings that around. Back for German. In for Bunting. Leaves it for Nylander. Feeds that back at the point to Riley. Now Bunting shields off Mayo. Plays it back in behind the goal. Scooped up by Lyubushkin. Chip back down the Leaf zone, and Brody plays it back for Riley. For TJ Brody. Dances across the line. Brody drops it off for Tavares. Tavares moving in, shoots, floated that wide. Now Tavares back on it. John Tavares slides it back across. Brody with a shot that's blocked as Soderstrom got in the way. Brody goes back to Riley. Fed in by Brody. Now Riley chips in, moved by him by Lyubushkin. And back out of the Leaf zone as Tavares swings back to pick it up. TJ Brody banks that for Riley. Back to center ice, picked up by Soderstrom. Dances around Spezza, in comes Soderstrom with it. Long shot. Mrazek makes the save and is able to hang on. Austin Matthews has tied it up here in the third period. It's a 1-1 tie on Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN. Ontario, just west of London, won a gold medal with Canada at the 2015 World Junior Championship. He was traded by Florida after the Panthers drafted him along with David Boland to Arizona. So he was the payoff for Arizona taking on the Boland contract. That was back when the Coyotes had the likes of Pavel Datsyuk, Chris Pronger, and others. Goff in, shoots, put that high and wide.
11 and 15 goals in his career. He had just 4 in 51 games last year. He's had a really nice bounce back season. He's got 9 this year. He's a big horse, man. He gets in on the forecheck. He's really physical.
But Arizona was a place where contracts went to die for a few years. Now they're trying to rebuild the thing. General Manager Bill Armstrong, I spoke earlier about draft picks. They've got 3 firsts and 5 seconds in the upcoming NHL draft.
Which makes the deadline pretty interesting for me is, at a certain point, how many draft picks do you want? Are you able to wedge out a little bit older prospect, a very good prospect, as opposed to just more draft picks? Because you can rebuild and you can have draft picks coming out of your ears, but eventually they have to mature. They have to get ready to play at the NHL level.
And of course, the Coyotes were draft pick poor for a while. Got some stripped away for the previous administration illegally testing players. They traded a first-round pick for Taylor Hall. So Armstrong tasked with the responsibility of trying to rebuild this franchise as Mayo touches up, but the play's offside at the Arizona line.
There is no quick fix for a rebuild. When you're so far in the barrel as they are, they've basically stripped it all the way down. And you've got to start again. I mean, in a sense, it's a expansion team with a few contracts that are tied to it.
Barrett Hayton, a top young prospect for them, is one of the players out injured right now. Of course, a World Junior hero for Canada in the 2020 tournament. That dramatic goal in the gold medal game.
You've heard a lot about Jacob Chikrin and his contract and whether the young defenseman who's had just a miserable year, but at a really affordable $4.6 million, will be on the go come the deadline.
There is Bill Armstrong on the right, the general manager on the left is formerly GM John Ferguson Jr. Armstrong, former assistant general manager with the St. Louis Blues, won a Stanley Cup there. Rebuilds are painful, Ray. They don't always work.
Well, there's the other part to it. It's like, it's great you got all the draft picks. You've got to hit on it.
Nylander swings that back. Kerfoot with it now. Past the midway point of the third period, a 1-1 tie. Nash has that knocked away, now picked up by Tavares. John Tavares taken down by Nash. Now brought back the other way by Fisher. Christian Fisher bottled up by Brody. Plays it back down in the Leaf zone, and Kerfoot with it. Alex Kerfoot. Shots are 42-15 Toronto. He's changing as Dermott picks it up. Dermott across to Spezza. Pass out of his reach. Boyd pokes out for Keller. Clayton Keller trying to drop it back for Ladd. And here's Soderstrom with it. Long wrist shot knocked away by Mrazek. Chopped up by Dermott back to center ice. Soderstrom. Lead pass for Boyd. He's squeezed off the puck by Dermott. Ritchie comes in to try to dig it free. Bounces back to Keller at the point. Soderstrom, a shot goes off a skate wide. And Soderstrom ranges back for it. He was the 11th overall pick in the draft in 2019. And here's Soderstrom back with it. Liljegren plays it back around. There's a shot by Mayo. Blocked in front by Kasha. And a race for it now. Bunting moving in, but Soderstrom knocked that away. Matthews back out there.
The Leafs have been going back to this line time and again here. Now Kasha's back with Bunting and Matthews, but Keefe has not been shy to get them back on the ice again and again.
That puck chipped back down to the Leafs zone. Muzzin goes back. Austin Matthews with a franchise record 9th straight road game with a goal. The in-season record is 11 straight by Steve Yzerman, Brett Hull, and Pavel Bure. There are some longer ones that span 2 seasons, but in-season 11 is the mark.
It's a pretty good crew of players right there. Scored a few goals in their day.
Yzerman was the first player in history to score 500 goals with more on the road than at home. That's very tough to do. Pretty good GM too, as it turns out. Mikheyev for Simmons. Chonak chips out ahead. Now Dzingel moves ahead to Schmaltz. In comes Schmaltz with it now. Centering pass. Dzingel scores. Ryan Dzingel strikes again, and the Coyotes are back on top.
A rare rush chance for the Coyotes. They don't get very many of these. Just 72 goals for coming into tonight's game, and a rare mistake by TJ Brodie, who just doesn't make very many of these. The Coyotes will have a quick breakout, which they haven't had many of. They're still in good shape here. Brodie has this sorted, but he doesn't turn and recognize that pass quick enough. He's pointed out the high guy going to the net. Now, his play is across the net. That's the second time tonight Mrazek's missed that poke check. Remember in the first period, there was a 2-on-1. He missed that same poke check going the other way to Kessel, who chipped it wide of the net. This time, he misses that poke check after Brodie loses Dzingel going to the net, and it ends up in the net. 2 goals for Dzingel, just 4 on the season, and it's 2-1 Arizona.
So Dzingel misses 7 to injury, comes back into the lineup, scores twice, and the Coyotes, with under 7 to go in the 3rd period, have regained the lead. Kerfoot. Rink wide, he goes to Nylander. Look at Nylander, fires it down. Kerfoot pokes it ahead. There's Gostisbehere with it. So much talked about the difficulty of winning back-to-back games on the road.
Sometimes, you know, I understand it. I understand the stats, but really, what more of the Leafs needed to do here except score? I mean, they've been all over Arizona all night.
Matthews pokes it back. The play is called at the Coyotes line. Ryan Dzingel has 2. It's 2-1 Arizona.
Molson Canadian, our beer, hockey's beer.
Arizona will start the breakout. Galchenyuk takes his puck off the boards and finds Dzingel. Now Dzingel's going to go right through the middle. You see Brodie point to Wayne Simmons to take the high guy, so everything's sorted out. It's basically a 3-on-3, but Schmaltz gets outside, and as Dzingel gets inside of Brodie, that pass lane is there, and unbelievably, the Leafs have to find another goal here as they trail by 1.
Their last 2 Games on this trip have gone to overtime. A loss to Colorado on Saturday. The win last night in Vegas in the shootout. Now pick free. Kessel reaching for it. Feeds that back to Gostisbehere. Shane Gostisbehere pivot to the line. Plays that back in the corner. Matthews trying to dig that freight. Now back at the point, Mayo feeds it back across, but the pass draws Gostisbehere out. Feeds that back down to the Leaf zone. If they weren't before, the Coyotes now very much in a defensive shell. Now a centering pass. Boyd with a chance. Mrazek turns that away. Keller plays that to the sideboards and moved back down the ice by Hall. Bounces back. Lag goes back. Icing waved off. Camp comes in for it. Mikheyev spins away from Ladd. Now Mikheyev being watched by Boyd. Boyd picks it off and finds Keller. In comes Clayton Keller with a chance. Now Keller trying to find Ladd with that pass in behind him. 5 to go in the third period. 2-1 Arizona leads. In comes Simmons winding in. Shoots, and that's gloved by Vejmelka. 1-goal lead for the Coyotes on Molson Canadian Leafs hockey from Arizona. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern and keeps on rolling all tournament long, only on TSN. The draw was scheduled to be about an hour ago. It's been postponed.
And Austin Matthews getting a fresh wrap on there. Wide white tape. I never liked the wide white because it rips easy. I like the thin stuff because it would hold in there a little bit.
And you were very particular. It had to be the strips had to be.
Oh yeah, see that
parallel?
See that stuff at the end there? I would have had to clip that off. Why? I have no idea. But anyway, it had to look neat in my brain space.
Riley with a long shot. That's turned away by Vejmelka. Another chance for Tavares. Bouncing puck in front. Kerfoot puts it wide. Anyone who's seen the inside of your car would find that hard to believe.
Well, I'm not the only driver of my car, I will say. in my defense in this.
Here's Kerfoot with it around for Nylander. Back for Riley. Morgan Riley a long shot. Then it Kerfoot in front. Picked up now by Nash. And Riley Nash moves it back out. 4 to go here in the third period. Mrazek leaves it there for Riley. Morgan Riley. Up ahead, swept in. As Bunting goes after it. Gostisbehere picks it free. Gostisbehere. Lead pass to center ice. Ladd chipped at that. Now Muzzin fires it back down to the Coyote zone. Vejmelka left it there for Gostisbehere. Bouncing puck to Boyd. Backhands it back down to the Leaf zone, and as Hall goes back, icing waved off. The linesman Ryan Gibbons right there as the puck trickled towards the end line, but didn't quite get there. Now Muzzin moves in. In comes Muzzin, a long shot that deflects wide, picked up by Matthews. Austin Matthews winds back in and shoots. Vejmelka down, loose puck, they poke at it, Hall, and Vejmelka down makes the Snow Angel save and hangs on.
It gives Gostisbehere a tap. As Matthews is wandering around the zone, holding the puck, protecting the puck, looking for a shooting lane, Justin Hall is going to come all the way around the back door and end up getting this rebound chance. Look at Matthews. That thing's on a string. And as he zips it to the net, good tip by Bunting, one good stop, and then a second is Vejmelka's got to react again to stop Hall. You just see his stick come in from below the goal line, and the Coyotes are able to keep the puck in front of the goal line.
And there's Austin Matthews' parents looking on. .319 to go. Nash wins that face-off. And the Coyotes clear it out. In comes Roussel along with Fisher. Antoine Roussel down to Fisher. Mikheyev got bumped there, but moved the puck ahead to Kerfoot. Out with Bunting. Kerfoot for Bunting, and Soderstrom came back to take that away. Roussel was sent flying, and now Roussel banks it back down to the Leaf zone.
Makes me think Matthews, Nylander, Tavares are out next here as Kerfoot, Mikheyev, and Bunting were out there. Yeah, here. Oh, it's Spezza on with Tavares. The goaltender can't be far away.
In comes Nylander around Lyubushkin. Loose to the corner, Tavares. And Mrazek heads to the bench for the extra skater. It's Matthews as Tavares drops it back for Hall. In the corner for Matthews. Austin Matthews feeds that back to Hall. Across he goes to Muzzin. To Hall. Drop back to Matthews. Has a look back in the corner to Tavares. Feeds across to Nylander. Taps it back. Muzzin, a hard shot. Pavelka saves. Couldn't find the rebound for a moment. Bounces back in the corner. Now picked up by Matthews. Austin Matthews. Looks back in the corner. Picked up by Tavares. Exhausted Coyotes on the ice now. Tavares. Swings that back to Riley, who comes on fresh. Riley slides it back to Nylander. Looks for Tavares. John Tavares back across to Matthews. Minute 45 to go in the third period. Matthews back to Muzzin. Across to Nylander. To Muzzin. Lost to traffic. Waits. Winds it across. Nylander in. Shoots. That was blocked by Larson. Second shot goes wide. Riley centers it. Tavares poking at it. Vanilka down and is able to hang on.
The Leafs not able to get the puck into the middle of the ice where the dangerous shots could come from. The most dangerous chance was Jake Muzzin's one-timer that went through some traffic. The Leafs call a timeout. As Muzzin's shot here is deflected by Spezza, and Vejmelka gets a glove on it again. Geez, a remarkable night for Vejmelka continues. As the Matthews and the Leafs bench look for the answer here. Inside of 2 minutes, looking for a tying goal. Arizona just 3 wins at home this season.
It's astonishing. The Coyotes have won back-to-back games once all year. Coming off a loss to Nashville the other night. I mean, it has been a miserable year. You see Phil Housley and Corey Stillman running things in place of Andre Tourigny, the head coach who's in COVID protocol. Housley has head coaching experience with the Buffalo Sabres. But this has been Vejmelka's night. It really has.
Right from the very first period when they had 20 shots, the Leafs did. And Arizona came out of it with a 1-0 lead.
So the face-off in the Arizona zone. Spezza stays out.
It'll be Spezza and Larson on the draw.
And this is where being the #1 face-off team could come in handy. Well, Larson wins that draw. Gostisbehere plays it back down the ice. A race for it now. Keller gets there first. Negates the icing. He and Riley collide. Clayton Keller throws it back through the crease, and Larson couldn't quite reach it. Spezza back around to Riley. To Tavares. John Tavares' pass goes off Krause. Played back in by Mayo. And Matthews slides it across to Riley. Final minute now of regulation. Matthews in across the line. Austin Matthews works around Mayo. Throws it back in front. That pass picked up by Fisher. Now loose behind the goal. Matthews gathers it back up. Feeds it back to Riley. Across he goes to Nylander. Now Matthews with it. Slides that back to Riley. 5 forwards on the ice for Toronto. Riley back to Matthews. To Morgan Riley. In for Nylander. Threads it back across. Krause gets a stick on that. It's up and out of play.
Each time the Leafs pass the puck, it almost seems like the Coyotes get tighter and tighter and tighter around the slot. Eventually you see Keith saying move faster, and eventually if they can move faster and get the puck to the net, then Arizona has to react. Otherwise, they're just going to pack it in around that goal crease.
Now on this side, it's Tavares for the face-off, controlled by Toronto. Matthews back for Riley. Morgan Riley for Matthews, the pass out of his reach. Spezza gets it. Down to Kasha. Back for Riley. Across to Nylander. Nylander, sharp angle pass for Tavares. We've got a shot away. Spezza tips it back. 15 seconds to go in the third period. Riley to Nylander. Edward Matthews shoots. Bouncing puck pushes wide. Gostisbehere got in the way of that. That hurt Gostisbehere. Boyd on it. Gently plays it out. And as Morgan Riley goes back, the Arizona Coyotes stun the Maple Leafs, winning it 2-1. Behind an impressive goaltending performance by Karel Vejmelka.
Right from the very beginning of the game, the Leafs poured the pressure on Vejmelka and the Coyotes, but Karel Vejmelka was brilliant. Only Austin Matthews' goal, his 9th straight game on the road with a goal, beat Vejmelka. As the game's first star was just terrific as Arizona wins their 4th home game of the season. Shane Gostisbehere actually makes a game-saving block as Vejmelka was moving to his glove side. The puck hits Gostisbehere, who gets the block. And the Leafs